My name is Kai Nam and I live in the Diocese of Bristol, and I'm also a founding member of the Teahouse network. The network was set up by Reverend Mark Nam and originally began as a WhatsApp group which connected a handful of us during COVID. It was originally intended to be a support network for clergy with Chinese heritage, nothing more. But after our launch, it became apparent it could be so much more. So, what is the Teahouse? Well, its main purpose is to promote the visibility and participation of Chinese heritage clergy in all structures of the Church of England. Here you can see part of the website. The name Teahouse reflects the Chinese heritage we share. Tea houses have been part of Chinese society for thousands of years. Tea is also a quintessentially part of British society and therefore represents a beautiful blend of both cultures. Tea is also eminently Anglican. The words, more tea vicar, possess an almost liturgical quality, given how often they are uttered in churches up and down the country. It is hoped that the Tea House will point people in the direction of clergy with Chinese heritage. As a group, we are small in number, and are often overlooked in matters that concern us or the communities we represent, particularly on issues of diversity and inclusion. We believe we have much to offer, and we hope that our unique perspectives will be considered and our voices heard within the Church of England, whether related to policy, mission, theological reflection, or the life of the Church. As you can see, the network raises awareness on matters that impact Chinese heritage clergy by amplifying the voices of individual clergy. Please note, the emphasis is on the voices of individual clergy. The Tea House points away from itself as a network and towards the individuals, not itself. In terms of its gospel witness, the logo is based on a round pu'er cake, which is the traditional way to wrap and store tea leaves. The circular shape has no beginning or end and represents God's love for us. The circle shape also represents the drawing together of people from every tribe, tongue and nation, as well as the completeness of Christ's life and work. The character in the centre means tea. It is made up of 3 radicals, from top to bottom: leaves, person and tree. The cross-shaped strokes emphasise the centrality of Jesus, who in the form of a person willingly hung on a tree so that we might blossom and have life. In many cultures, tea brings people together. It is hoped that the Tea House will inspire reconciliation and the creation of spaces where people are able to enter into constructive dialogue with one another in the presence of Christ. So, to give you an idea of what this looks like, here is a short video of our first year. This week we're celebrating the 1-year anniversary of the Tea House.
The aim of a Tea House is to support and encourage Chinese heritage clergy by promoting their presence and participation in all structures of the Church.
We thought we'd take a quick look back at some of the amazing things that God has done over the past year. On August 16, 2021, 9 clergy and 6 ordinands met for the first time in London. This special day began with a midday Eucharist at Southwark Cathedral, followed by a dim sum lunch in Chinatown, and ending with evensong at St Martin in the Field.
A real highlight for me was receiving communion for the first time from someone of Chinese heritage. And there was also a moment when we came together with representatives from Church House, the head of Chinatown, New Scotland Yard, and members of an anti-racism group.
Whilst we didn't expect it at the time, the meetup became the official launch of the Tea House, and it was so encouraging to read the following message from the Archbishop of York in a press statement, who said,
"I'm absolutely delighted to see the formal launch of a Tea House group. What a wonderful development in our journey towards becoming a church that truly reflects and values the great diversity of life in modern Britain. Seeing groups like this come forward fills me with hope."
The following month, several members of the Tea House were invited onto their local BBC radio stations to share about their experiences, and word spread as far as Hong Kong and Taiwan.
In October, members of a Tea House were invited to lead the BBC National Sunday Service. This was a wonderful opportunity to raise the profile of Chinese heritage clergy across the UK.
Chinese heritage clergy represent just 0.02% of all stipendiary clergy. This service was incredibly significant.
That very same month, Lord Nat Wei, the first British-born person of Hong Kong origin in the House of Lords, was included in the 11 members comprising the Archbishop's Racial Justice Commission. In November, attention turned to theological education. the Teahouse was invited to collaborate with CMIAC, the Committee for Minority Ethnic Anglican Concerns, and co-hosted a conference titled Making Room at the Inn, exploring ways the Church of England might welcome people from Hong Kong.
It featured eminent speakers such as Kwok Pui Lan, who was recently awarded the Lambeth Award for Excellence in Leadership, as well as members of the Teahouse to offer their own insights and wisdom.
Later that month, a few of us had the opportunity to lay a wreath at the Cenotaph in London at 11 a.m. on November 11th to commemorate the 140,000 Chinese labourers who served alongside British troops during World War I, but who have yet to receive a permanent memorial.
At the turn of the year, several members of the Teahouse led the Church of England's national online service. This helped increase the representation of Chinese heritage clergy across the church, and dozens of positive messages were received.
As well as marking Chinese New Year, February saw General Synod reconvene again. In the Archbishop of York's response to Lord Boateng's address on racial justice, the work of the Teahouse was mentioned. This was a wonderful moment of recognition within the church.
In March, Reverend Eileen Harrop was installed as a canon at Durham Cathedral in recognition of her ministry and service, joining Reverend Andrew Zini as the only two canons in the Church of England with Chinese heritage. April saw a wonderful collaboration between Reverends David Young and Feng Lao as they led the first ever Cantonese worship service at St Barnabas Alwoodley in the Diocese of Leeds to welcome newly arrived Hong Kongers.
Over the summer months, members of the Teahouse contributed to various publications such as Heart Edge, Preach Magazine, A Rocha, the College of Preachers, and various diocesan resources, demonstrating the depth and richness of insight clergy of East Asian heritage have to offer the church.
In Bristol, Reverend Mark Nam helped host the first of several friendship festivals, which took place across the UK, organised in partnership with UK HK and Welcome Churches.
In July, we celebrated the ordination of deacons and priests at St Albans, Manchester and Southwark.
Most recently, we were thrilled to see Reverend Canon Eileen Harrop nominated to be one of 3 observers in the House of Bishops, and for Westcott Ordinand Kenzan Lee to be co-opted into the House of Laity at General Synod. These are amazing steps forward for Chinese and East Asian representation at all levels in the Church of England.
And of course, we still meet online every few months to support, encourage and pray for one another, which is where this all began.
These are just some of the highlights of the past year, and it's incredible to think that just over a year ago, most of us didn't know each other. It was only a year ago the voices of Chinese heritage clergy were still yet to be heard.
Thank you so much for journeying with us. We're excited about what the next year holds. If you'd like to stay in touch, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or visit our website.
Since that video was made, we have seen the visibility and participation of Chinese heritage clergy increase. For example, clergy such as Tim Yao and Mark Nam have been writing sermons for Church House Publishing in magazines like The Preacher and the upcoming Canterbury Preacher's Companion. You may have seen that Reverend Jonathan Zhong and Reverend Yin An Chen have also released books too. Since the launch of the Teahouse, a number of us have had more opportunities in the media to speak out on topics like racism and migration. With the large influx of people from Hong Kong, it is key that our voices and perspectives are included. In terms of civic engagement, clergy have been involved with National Hate Crime Awareness Week, which focused on the unprecedented rise in hate crime against East Asians that was held at St Paul's Cathedral. Members of the Teahouse are invited by the Western Front Association every year to lay a wreath at the Cenotaph in London on November 11th to remember Chinese contributions to the British war effort. There was also the Chinese and British exhibition, which Reverend Mark Nam helped organise and which ran for 6 months at the British Library. It was here that a number of us had the opportunity to engage with the Racial Justice Unit for the first time and show Guy the history and development of the British Chinese community in the UK. And an important point, it is really positive to see Chinese heritage clergy engaging with civil society and not just a church. For example, 2 members of the Teahouse got to meet the King to share their thoughts, and one of our members is also a trustee with CARG, Campaign Against Racism Group, who advised the government on matters of policy related to the East and Southeast Asian community. And of course, we continue to celebrate the ordination of deacons and priests across the country and organise meetups online. Looking ahead, some of the Anglican colleges such as Trinity, Wycliffe, Emmanuel and Westcott have begun to realise that East Asian clergy and East Asian theology is important. It is hoped this year that one of the colleges, and we can't name them yet, will be launching the first programme in Anglican Theological College, dedicated to Asian theology, so not just a single class, but an actual module. Very exciting. Ways you can support and get involved. A few exciting things are coming up. One of our clergy has set up an online petition at change.org to have Florence Lee Tim Oy recognised by the Church of England for her role in paving the way for the ordination of women. Please visit change.org and search Florence Lee Tim Oy to sign the petition. We are also hoping to have a permanent memorial erected at the National Arboretum for the Forgotten Chinese Labour Corps, and hope to partner with the Racial Justice Unit and War Graves Commission in making this a reality. This one went up in France 6 months ago. To keep up to date, please follow us on social media. We have a Facebook page and also a Twitter account and an Instagram account where the Teahouse points to individual clergy to raise their visibility and encourage wider participation. And finally, please do pray for us. Thank you for listening.